Thank you. All right. There. Whew. It has been quite a day. Do we have people? Do we have people today? I'm going to move this little guy out of the way for a bit. There we are. Our viewers are going to be signing in. I hope. I know we're a little bit late. There's Denise. Hi, Denise. Good to see you. I'm watching my screen to see how many other people show up. Yeah. Carol Gilchrist is with us. I think you were in the store today, weren't you, Carol? Sandy's here. Hi, Sandy. So, yes, another lovely Thursday. Bye, Leah. Hi, Anne. Patty Brown's here. You're a people, of course. You're all very important people. That's wonderful. Without you folks, we wouldn't be here, and I'd have to stay home and quilt. And oh, no, I get to quilt at work. That's okay. So, yes, it's a Thursday. And I came to work and I said to Leah, I says, am I doing Facebook or are you doing Facebook? She says, maybe you could do it, because she's been really busy with Anne. So I was trying to think of something kind of new and different to talk about. So I thought I'm going to move the mouse out of the way, because I hate hitting the mouse, with stuff. So I thought, we would do something we all have. Do you have a bucket like this at home? All those tail ends of batting. Yeah. So I thought, we should talk about, and you know what I forgot? I forgot my list. I bet you it has been totally crazy here in the store. And you know what I'm going to do? I am going to move this over because I need my list. I cannot possibly remember 22 things. And I'm going to let you look at these lovely things that Chelsea has set up for us and see how many of those things you have in your arsenal. Hang on a second. For long. So, I need my list. Yeah. It's a good thing the long arm department is pretty close to the studio. So, you have this bucket of batting scraps at home, and you go, what'll I do with all of these things? Because they're not big enough for a quilt. So I decided I'd make a list. I thought, well, Kimberbell mug rugs, that's right. And I was surprised at how many things I could put on my list of things to do with batting scraps. So let me just tell you a few. The first one, top of the list, obviously, small projects. So Kimberbell mug rugs, placemats, if you've got a decent size. If you've ever made those microwavable bowls, they are awesome. You want to heat your soup in a bowl, they're great. And we made one here on Facebook. It's a little while ago now, but I know you can probably find that video on our YouTube channel if you want to see it. The only key with that one is you want to make sure to use 100% cotton batting for those. You don't want any polyester in it. You don't want any scrim on them. So placemats, microwave bowls, rag quilts. I know they've been around for a while. They're still lovely. People still like them. And you only need pieces about that big. If you are more into some of the artistic things, you can make little mini quilts the size of a postcard. In fact, they're called postcards. One year for Christmas, I happened to have some Christmas fabric that was printed in sort of card size pieces, layered that, quilted it, and gave those as Christmas cards. You could make a whole bunch of small size quilt sandwiches and use them for your sewing machine and make a little book of all of the decorative stitches that your sewing machine has. Then you've got something to refer to. Practice pieces for practicing your free motion or any other stitches. You can make all kinds of small projects. The list just goes on and on and on, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you have done some of those sorts of things. You can save your batting scraps and practice some trapunto. And again, that's something we did on a Facebook, a fair while ago now, where you double layer your batting in one area, quilt it, trim off the excess, and then carry on and layer and quilt your quilt. You can use small pieces for stuffing things. If you're into making simple stuffed items for kids or grandkids, batting works fine. They don't care if it's a little bit lumpy. You could stuff a pincushion with it. I've done that. Works really, really well. And for that, you might want to use a more loosely woven batting. So these are all, yeah, okay, we can figure that out. Thread catchers. This is one of my favorite ones. You got a scrap of batting like this. So you lay it on the table beside your sewing machine. One lady that I was looking up online tucks it up here. Every time you trim a thread, toss it at the batting. You don't even have to physically place it there. This stuff is so, you just sort of go, whoop, and it collects all those threads, and then you just take that, wipe the threads off, throw them out, or you can use that batting scrap with the threads to dust off your workspace when you're finished, which kind of leads us to my other super favorite use for batting scraps like this. Use them as dusters. They pick up things beautifully. They don't harm the surfaces. You can wipe glass with them and anything delicate like that. You can even take them, and I didn't bother bringing it back here with me, take and layer it. Use your Swiffer duster thing as a pattern, draw lines on it, sew it together. And instead of going out and buying all those Swiffer duster rags, you just make them out of batting scraps. They collect lint like crazy. It is amazing how they work. Packing material. You want to send something in the mail, whether it's soft like a quilt that you want to protect, or something delicate, makes great packing material. Why use plastic? We have all of this stuff. I did see one online, draft stoppers. You could take your batting scraps and stuff it in the chinks around your windows to keep the drafts out. I really hope that nobody is living in a house here in Alberta that they actually have to stuff batting around their windows. But just in case, it is an idea. Yes, Loanne says that thread catcher is brilliant, and it is. I use it all the time in the long arm area. My list is quite long. So, table protectors. We all know that you can buy proper table pads to put underneath your decorative tablecloth, and it just protects that nice tabletop surface. But what happens if, you don't have one? You don't have one the right size, or the size you do have is this much too short. Couple layers of quilt batting is going to serve the same purpose in protecting that tablecloth. How about taking something like this? Let's say you have nice tables. Remember the days of doilies, and our mothers and grandmothers had everything set on doilies, and we don't do that now. But sometimes you get that table lamp, the base of it can be a little rough. So you take your quilt batting, you can glue it if you wish. You can use 505 basting spray, works really well. Set your lamp on there, and then just trim it to size so it doesn't show. So it's like felt, but it's not as thick. and it's still going to protect your table. Cleaning rags. I I did see one thing online that says it works in filling out a less than stellar frontage instead of stuffing socks. I haven't tried it, and I don't think I will. I'm not worried about that. Dusting, Swiffers. How about taking it and cutting it into, I can cut this piece, it's okay. Let's cut it into about a 2-inch square, and you could do this with your rotary cutter. Make a little stack of them and use them as makeup remover pads. 100% cotton, and it's not going to shred away. Dampen it down. You can use it to apply your makeup as well. Toss it in the garbage, or even better, if you can recycle it when you're finished. I thought that was one of the greatest tips. Very soft, very easy on the skin. You don't have to worry about contaminants or anything like that. Drawer pads, drawer liners. You've got kitchen drawer, stuff is rattling around. Your husband maybe has a tray of nuts and bolts and that sort of thing, and it rattles. Little pieces of quilt batting set in the bottom are going to keep that from making so much noise, and also protect what you're putting in there. You could use the same sort of thing in a jewelry case. Most jewelry cases have that lining, but just in case yours doesn't, or you want to protect it even more, line it with some spare quilt batting. On that note, now that we're able to travel, you want to take some of your favorite jewelry with you. Take a scrap of batting, pin your pins, hook your earrings, put your earrings through the quilt batting like that. Then you just have to roll it up and tuck it into a suitable carrying bag. And it keeps it safe, it keeps it protected. Jostling around in your suitcase, things aren't going to rub together. Those necklaces aren't going to get tangled. Awesome, awesome use for that one. You have your grandmother's good china. You maybe only use it a couple times a year, but you don't want to get rid of it. Especially the thinner battings. This feels like a number 3 cotton, not super thick. Cut it to size and use that between the plates so that when the big trucks go up and down the street and then the plates go like this, you're not going to worry about them rattling. That was another good tip. What else we got? Oh yeah, Christmas time. I don't know about you, but I have the villages, the houses for the china, the illuminated houses for Christmas that I put out every year. This stuff makes great snow around those houses. Cat beds and dog beds. I know you may have to layer them, quilt them, but if you want them thicker, you can use your batting scraps to stuff those. Again, you don't have to worry about what's in it. This was another interesting one. We're getting into gardening season, so you can take a flower pot, and most of them have drainage holes, and so they should. But then you put the dirt in, and the dirt falls out the hole, and it's in the tray and everything. So you can use a wee scrap of quilt batting in the bottom of your flower pot. It's still going to let the water drain through, but it's going to keep that dirt inside the pot where it belongs. You can take your batting, nice and soft, and it's got a bit of stretch to it. Now to be honest, I use salvages that I trim off my fabric for this. But you can cut yourself a strip like that and use it as a plant tie. Tie up those tomato plants so those tomatoes don't go on the ground. It's soft, it's not abrasive, it's not going to hurt them. Okay, that was a really good one. Back to Christmas. I'm just going down my list. Back to Christmas, your Christmas ornaments. If you don't still have the box that they came in, you can use quilt batting to protect those. Protect delicate ornaments before you pack them away. Maybe you're moving places. Great things. And then when you get it to the new location and you unpack it, you still have that piece of batting to use for another purpose. What else have we got? Oh, absorbent disposable bibs. I think we've probably all made little baby bibs with a bit of quilt batting in them, and that's fun. But what if we need something, we don't have little ones around all the time. We don't have a supply of bibs, but the grandchild is there, and it's like, yeah, grab the quilt batting and just stick it to them. Or maybe you're eating lobster a lot. It's much more attractive than those lobster bibs. Something that we have used at home, we live in an older house, but we do have a pretty good furnace in it. But our return air vent registers, those big things in the hallways, that's designed to suck the cold air back down to your furnace. Our house can get pretty dusty. So we have lined those vents with a layer of, what have I got? Do I have a scrap here? We used 100% polyester batting for that one because it's not going to droop as much. Just put a thin layer of that in behind. It helps to filter out some of the finer dust particles. Do you take little bottles of medication with you sometimes? And when they're full, it's not too bad, but when they get down and they rattle and then the pills break and that sort of thing, tuck a little scrap of quilt batting in the bottom of the bottle or in the top to hold it down. Protect your pills. And one more. Take several layers of especially 100% cotton. Make it about that thick, maybe a little bit thicker. Okay, soak it well with water, tuck it in a Ziploc bag, and put it in the freezer. So if you should happen to need an instant ice pack, there it is, all ready to go. Because it's a soft material, as it starts to thaw, it's going to conform to whatever body part you need to wrap it around. So that was 22. I was looking online. They had a list of 70, but a lot of them were duplicates. So I was surprised at 22 possibilities. And I'm sure you folks can come up with even more. But let's say you want to be really traditional and actually use it for quilts. It is easy to piece your leftover pieces of quilt batting. We've got a few products out here behind me that you can use. Obviously 505 spray. If you're doing especially a small project, you can just spray your backing and your batting's going to stick to it, so you can almost patchwork it that way. We have our batting and seam tape. This is like a strip of fusible interfacing, basically. You're going to line your batting pieces up together, run this strip down across them, and press it down. Don't rub it. Press it down. Yes, Anne, 22 and 22. Sandy would be so proud of me. Press it down as you go, and that holds really well. Comes in white and in black and a couple of different widths on that one. What else have we got up here? Oh, 505 spray. Don't forget batting scissors. If you cut a lot of batting, these are awesome. They have that little nubble on the end, so when you come in under the batting, it doesn't catch. They're amazing. You can just slide it right in, as opposed to a pointy pair of scissors. They work really well. But probably the most traditional way of piecing batting is to actually sew it together. So I'm going to give you a little demo. I've got 2 pieces of batting, not very big, but that's okay. I really wanted to be able to show you how to line them up, because you don't want to overlap them and have that thick part in the center, because that's going to make a ridge in your quilt. So what you're going to do, and I'm going to see if I can line up the other camera here. Tyler's got it set really nicely for the sewing machine. So I'm just going to shift it over a wee bit. There we go. So I have my 2 pieces of batting, And you don't want to sew them together overlapped, but we're going to start with them overlapped because most often our edges aren't straight. We've used this batting for other things. You're going to take your batting scissors and cut through both layers. And it doesn't matter if it's straight because the wobbles will match up. So now you have two edges that are going to meet, whether they're straight or crooked. We're going to get rid of the two little skinny parts like that. So now our edges, I'm going to shift you over here. Now the edges are going to butt right up nicely together. And then we're going to sew this together. And you could use a regular zigzag stitch. I find sometimes though they tend to make the batting push together like that. What I like to use, and it's available on most sewing machines. This is a smaller brother machine. And I did a sample so you can see it because white on white doesn't show up very well. So it looks like this. So it looks like a zigzag, but it's actually composed of 3 stitches in both directions. And that's really going to hold your batting together nicely and flat. So put that in there, lower my foot, find my little foot pedal here. So simple, I don't even have to take my shoes off. So now you can see the action of the needle. It goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, back and forth. And because I layered them and cut through the 2 layers, even though that cut is a little crooked, they're matching up beautifully. I just have to remember to angle my stitching. And if you miss a patch, you just go back and secure it again. If it's a small area, it's not going to matter because this whole piece is going to get quilted into your project. There we go. So you can see I missed a little bit right there. I think that part I would leave. That's laying nice and flat, no puckers, and no bump in the batting when it goes into the quilt. So I guess that makes, I don't know, is that 23 things? Not really. This can be thing number 1. So 22 and 22. Yes, lots of things we can do with our batting scraps. Don't throw them out. There's all kinds of ways to use them and use them again. And when they finally wear out, then you don't feel so bad about discarding them. Remember, if you've got 100% cotton, do a little research. Find out if there's any places that are recycling 100% cotton products like that. Because hey, quilts come in all different sizes, but batting comes in for us about 3 different sizes. So we're always going to have those leftovers, and it's nice to know there's lots of things we can do with them. So I'm glad you all joined me. I see Teresa's here and Anne's here and Loanne. That's amazing. So have fun. Play with your batting. I need to go make myself a new duster. Mine's getting pretty linty back there. But yeah, keep your machine dusted, tidy, and use up those batting scraps. Make those little projects. It'll be kind of fun. So that's what I have for you today. Hope that's going to tide you over. I think Leah's going to be with you tomorrow. What's going on tomorrow? We have a class in the classroom tomorrow morning. I can't remember. I believe it's one of the Bernina classes. And tomorrow afternoon, I will be doing our 3rd class in our hand embroidery stitching. So I'm looking forward to that one. That'll be great. So until then, have a great rest of your Thursday, everybody. And thanks for joining us. It's lovely to see all of our viewers.